everyone. It's been a while, but I'm back. Today I was going to talk to you about the process of making a commission. So here's the piece that I was working on right here. So typically when I get started, I gather all the materials I'll need for the process, depending on whether or not it's a traditional or a digital painting. That process might be really fast or it might take a little while. So depending on which one it was, for in this case I was a traditional commission, so I used gouache on a canvas panel. I've been experimenting with gouache for about a year now, and I'm still learning the ropes with it feels like. When I first started, I got a super inexpensive set from a local hobby store, and I couldn't wait to paint with it. So I started with a piece of paper and just a little sketch and went to see how it did. This is the final of that first experimentation. After that, I got started on another different piece of my character Aspa. You can see that here. And I really wasn't sure what I was doing. In fact, I had ordered some of the gouache offline based on other artists and what they recommended. And when I did that, I did not realize that there were different types of gouache. So the two main different types of gouache that I know of so far are Acryla gouache, which is like an acrylic gouache, and what I would just call regular gouache. And the difference is acrylic gouache behaves like acrylic. It will dry like acrylic, and it's kind of water soluble, so it sort of reacts to water. And as I found out with this commission, it actually completely messed up when I tried to take off some of the whiskers with some water, and it just smeared the whole entire side of the face, so I had to completely repaint that. I'd seen some tutorials online on how to paint with gouache, and the way it looked was so awesome. Like, it was really cool the way it flowed onto the page, and a lot of the ones I saw, they were painting on paper, and I just loved the way it looked. With my Aspa painting, I was trying to emulate that, and it was not coming out that way at all. I was using a different kind of panel than the other artist I was trying to emulate, and yeah, the results were not the same. So with the Aspa piece, what I realized after a lot of time on the painting was that it said Acryla gouache, and I was like, acrylic? Oh. I was like, I don't know, 75% of the way done with the painting before I even realized that. So for that one, I went ahead and actually changed up my process, used the initial paints I had bought, and when I did that, it was behaving more of how I expected. Going into this commission, I thought for sure, let's just go ahead and not use that acrylic. I didn't like the way it worked. I didn't like the way it looked and the way it kind of like lended itself to the canvas panel that I had used. So I went and started off with the others that I had. And when I did that, I did not get the same results. I'm honestly, I probably need to watch more tutorials. So what I did actually end up looking into was when I did look at other artists and I saw their painting process and the way it flowed onto the page and everything, I paid really close attention to what exact medium they were using. And yeah, it was actually acrylic gouache. So I was like, oh, okay, so let me switch. So I did that halfway through this painting. And when I did that, I noticed a big change. Like when I was originally painting with the other gouache, it was just like barely covering any of the background canvas color. And that was really frustrating. So I was like, should I have like gessoed this whole entire panel, which I didn't do. And so I just went ahead and switched to the acrylic, and it made a huge difference for me. After that, it wasn't, perfect. I had that issue later on. When I was pretty much done with the painting, I was painting in the whiskers, and yeah, I had that issue with the face, but otherwise it behaved a lot more like how I saw other artists using this medium. So it was definitely a learning experience. Over the years, I've had a lot more experience with digital because I've had a lot of commissions through companies, and they want something fast and they want to be able to make revisions, and the easiest way to do that is to go ahead and do it digitally. So I had experienced quite a lot of problems with digital. In my early career, in the early 2000s, people didn't think it was real art. And, you know, now we're combating that again in a completely different way. It's funny because back then they said the computer did all of the work, and it's like, well, wait, give it 20 years. But that attitude kind of prevailed all the way until like the mid-2010s. And at that point, it finally started getting a little traction as a, you know, viable professional medium. I really honed that in 10 years. I really honed that digital, you know, media, because honestly, I enjoy it. I liked the lack of mess. I'm not a super messy painter. I don't tend to get like my hands all dirty and everything while I'm painting. And digital really facilitates that. But, you know, lately I've been kind of feeling the draw of traditional and the kind of, you know, benefit of being able to own an original and be able to sell the original. And so I've been really looking into other mediums. I never really got into oils. I wasn't taught how to use them properly, and they're a little intimidating for me, despite watching many, many, many hours on how to paint with them. And acrylic just doesn't quite mesh with my style of painting. I grew up as a watercolor artist, so typically when I was doing that kind of work, you could work in washes, and you could, you know, really layer and then take away. You can kind of scum the paint off and scum, whatever. And then you could really like get it all the way back down to the paper if you wanted to. It's not great for the paper, but you could do it. And doing it that way was kind of nice about it, is, you know, it felt very, you could build it up or leave it as, you know, watercolory or really painterly as you wanted. Well, that's kind of like my different media journey through the years, and now I'm kind of getting into the gouache scene, and I'm still experimenting with you know, different mediums of gouache and the different kinds of ways you can paint with it, as well as the, you know, texture of the paper that you're using. Commissions, I really like the panels in theory because with the panel, you know, it's less likely to break in the mail, hopefully, fingers crossed. But, you know, compared to being bent or folded like paper. And with the crumbly kind of chalky finish of a gouache painting, I'm like really hesitant to like roll it up. I feel like that will not lead to good things. That is kind of the process overall that I do with commissions. And as far as this particular painting, you know, it's pretty straightforward. I had a, you know, reference of the cat. I have that here. And yeah, pretty much just confirmed with the commissioner the different pose and then the attitude they wanted in the face. Just a little sassy kind of cat. And really wanted to show off the personality here, so definitely spent some time working on a good pose and a good expression for this commission. The detailing was really surprising because when I was using the base gouache, I didn't realize that it was so hard to cover up that panel, and so the texture of the panel and the base white color of the panel was just coming through no matter what I would do, no matter how much layers of paint I would add. So switching to the acrylic gouache was definitely needed, and I definitely had to learn how to kind of work with that paint, especially on this texture. Now that I've worked on this painting, I always love by doing. That's the best way I can learn. I feel very confident about doing more. I'm actually working on a series next where I'll be possibly painting digitally, possibly painting traditionally, but if I go the traditional route, I'm thinking of going with gouache again, because I do want to master gouache. If you're interested in a commission for yourself of your pet, I also do D&D characters, I also do furry characters, then feel free to check out my website. You can find it at charreed.com. So this channel has kind of been all over the place over the years, but what I'd really like to get to is a place where you can come here and listen to some of my, you know, different processes of how I work. And if you get something out of it, great. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So take care and have a great day. See ya.